Hi, I'm Emma Redman, and together with Dr. Larry Carino and my service dog sidekick Calzone, we sought to determine the inter- and intrapersonal hair color variability from undyed head hairs.
Sante Tribble was arrested and convicted of the murder of a Washington, D.C. cab driver, even though he had 8 witnesses backing up his alibi. The most powerful evidence for the prosecution was a combination of eyewitness testimony and forensic scientists stating that Sante Tribble's hair and hair found in a stocking cap near the crime scene, like the one that the killer was wearing, were indistinguishable to the point of a match. Sante Tribble was later exonerated by DNA after 30 years in prison. Sante, unfortunately, is far from the only one to be a victim of this kind of miscarriage of justice. As part of our freshman bridge program, we designed a statistical model of measuring hair evidence. While presenting this research at the Mid-Atlantic Association of Forensic Scientists, I was asked how variable is color within a single person. I didn't know, but we set out to find out. So far, 10 people have contributed 50 loose hairs collected by brushing. Including the root, are mounted onto slides using DPX mounting media. The hair is analyzed on Olympus BX53 microscope under standardized lighting conditions using CellSens software. Diameters are measured both vertically and diagonally. Color measurements were taken every 20 micrometers along each diagonal line. All color measurement is done in the RGB system, where each color, red, green, and blue, is measured on a scale of 0 to 255, because there's 255 shades of each of those colors that the human eye can see. The region of hair being studied is still under the skin, which is determined by coloring on the head with a marker and pulling out those hairs. This is important because that way the measured region is not affected by sunlight, shampoo, or any other hair product. Measure between 500 micrometers from the edge of the root to 1,000 micrometers from the edge of the root, but this region here right in the middle is found to be least variable. Numerically looking at the hair with principal component analysis, you can see here the first 8 people. Some people span all the way across, so go between the very dark and the very light numerically, and as you can see, pretty much every one of these 8 people overlaps the majority of their hair. Some people, like number 8 over here, are much more contained, but they still overlap with so many other people that it would be very difficult to rule anyone out. Switching gears to qualitative analysis, this picture contains 8 color grids. Each of the small rectangles is the median color value of the least variable region of the measured hair, and putting those all next to each other represents all 50 hairs that were analyzed for each of the 8 people. You can see a wide variety of colors from both very light to very dark. All 50 of these hair colors in the hair grid came from the head you see on the left. Here's a quick game. Pause the video and decide which of these 4 heads you think that this hair grid on the right came from. So the correct answer is person B, and here you can see the other grids that belong to the other heads. Using this RGB integer equation, I was able to order the hairs from lightest to darkest to create this gradient image. So with these 5 people here as an example, you can really see how much each person varies from very, very light to very dark. And while there's some that are darker overall or lighter overall, it shows you how difficult it would be to rule out a standard hair because of the acceptable range within each person. So because of this, the concern becomes the risk of false inclusion, especially when discussing using hair color alone. In the future, I'm going to expand to make sure I'm including all sorts of hair colors and hair textures, as well as looking at variation down a hair and seeing how sunlight, shampoo, all that kind of things impacts it, as well as I'd love to get into looking at hair dye, as right now all of my hairs have been from people with undyed hair. I'd like to thank the following people, and if you have any questions, please reach out. I'd love to answer them. Thank you so much for watching.